As you enter the lobby, there was an inscription. In the absence of light, darkness prevails. There are things that go bump in the night, Hedge and Myers, and we are the ones who bump back.
Hey Ryan, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing well.
No special guest tonight, Josh?
The Holy Spirit is here.
Good
It's about
answer.
as special as you can get. At least we hope he's here. We're going to go through these notes and see.
Where two or more
We're
are gathered.
gathered. Dude, oh my God. Now you done started an avalanche of stuff we could talk about now. Yeah, we
What?
need to do an episode of like what's that freaking thing that was crap Christians say? That like they have no idea what they're talking about.
It is funny how
that's one that gets, dude, that people say so much and they have no idea what they're what they're saying.
where two or more are gathered.
Oh my gosh. It's like, dude, just read the context of that, please.
Do you want to fill us in, or are you able to move past it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything. Yeah, the idea that Jesus doesn't show up unless there's two or more people.
Oh, you just mean taking it very literally.
Yeah, like it's what is it, Matthew 18? Is it Matthew 18? No. It's
off the top of my head, I don't know.
he's
I
quoting.
also apologize to anyone watching or listening. I'm sucking on a cough drop.
Drop. Yeah, we've been coughing all week.
That's the Louisiana fall for you. Well, it's not even fall yet.
Now that you say it, I'm gonna start coughing.
I know. It's psychosomatic. Where two?
Yeah, the whole idea that you have to have two witnesses in a dispute is what he's talking about. Where, like,
holy moly, the brightness on my screen
has nothing to do with like Jesus's presence being in a service or anything.
All right, Matthew 18:20.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it was Matthew 18. It's talking about
dealing
a sinning
with
brother.
Sin, yeah, dealing with sin in the church. He says, it's the one that he says, if it's between the two of you, go talk to them. If they don't listen, take one or two others along.
Two witnesses with you.
If they still refuse to listen, tell it to the church. And if they refuse to listen to even the church, treat them as you would a pagan or a tax collector. Yep. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loose in heaven. Again, truly, I tell you that if two of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where two or three gather in my name, there I am with them.
Yeah,
that's the NIV. That's what came up.
So that's the context of the scripture is dealing with sinful brothers that you're having disputes with, and if they don't hear you, to take witnesses with you. So I think what is being said there is, like, when you have multiple witnesses, you can establish as if Jesus was there, or the presence of Jesus is there, to like correct the brother that's in sin or whatever.
Well, it also kind of goes to that whole idea of because another one that people misunderstand a lot is your body being the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Oh God, yeah.
And so the idea is that collectively the body of Christ, right?
Yeah.
It seems like in that passage it flip-flops, that like one of the yous is plural and one of the yous is singular.
Yeah.
But in the New Testament, in the epistles, typically the you is plural. He's addressing the church at Corinth, or the church at Rome or whatever. And so this seems to be the same idea, that we collectively have the Holy Spirit. We collectively are the body of Christ.
Yeah.
So Jesus is saying that where two or three of y'all are together, I'm there. That's my body, And so he says, get y'all agree on it. Agree on, So anyway, Josh and I, that's a pretty good little teaser, because we've been making kind of a list of things like that, and we do want to
things that make us angry.
Yeah, we
like,
do want to do
that makes me angry. Write it down.
We do want to do an episode that's things Christians say that might be misinterpreted or misunderstood, misrepresented.
Might be janky. Well, tonight's topic is kind of one of those things as well.
It absolutely is.
Speaking to the biblically accurate angels meme that's so popular online.
Yeah,
so that's what started the whole idea. I mean, I beat the dead horse of biblically accurate angels on our social media just because it's funny.
I don't know why you tolerate people online. I don't know why you get involved in any of that. I made that mistake once with that fire and Elijah thing, and that was just awful.
Dude, it's so funny. So, I mean, I'm not really like commenting on people's things anymore because it's pointless, but like making memes and stuff about them is pretty fun. My favorite one was the biblically accurate angel. I made it's just two like Jewish guys just like walking. This is biblically accurate angels. It's just like two men. I was like, this is it. No, but so the whole idea, and dude, like what reminded me of it to tell you about doing tonight's episode, I was like, let's do this episode on angels, was Representative Anna Paulina Luna on Joe Rogan last week. She was on there and she was talking about like, God bless her. She's not a theologian or anything, or, not like we are, but we're somewhat informed. She was talking about the Book of Enoch, and she was talking about angels,
smarter than the average bear,
spirits, and all that. Right? Yeah. And she mentioned, like, these angels and the biblically accurate angels, and they don't really look like you think. And she was kind of hinting at, they're these crazy creatures, that I was like, oh God, we got to do an episode on this.
Yeah.
So, where do you want to? How do you want to start? So this is what's called angelology, right?
Angelology. That sounds super new agey.
Angelology. Yeah, it sounds like something Bethel kicked off or something.
Well, it makes me think of
the School of Angelology.
Because who I watched? I'm almost. I even regret bringing her name up right now, honestly. But I watched a long time ago several of Doreen Virtue's videos.
Oh,
long time ago.
She's great.
She came out of New Age.
Yeah.
She was a angel, whatever, angelologist. I don't know what they call them in New Age.
Angel
but she had made her own version of tarot cards that were angel cards, and she was teaching people how to communicate with angels and summon angels and all this stuff. And then she got saved,
right,
and has turned her back on all that. And her YouTube channel now is very much like exposing New Age in the church and that kind of stuff. The problem is she swung hard the other way. Like, she's very Calvinist, I think. Now she's a Calvinist, and she's
she made a whole hit piece on Dr. Heiser after he passed away,
which is really sad because she
up
knew
and
Heiser.
Get a bunch of people. Yeah, well, that was like part of
they worked together on projects. So it's really sad that she did that. And that video, I couldn't.
Oh my God, I can't even watch it. It's so bad.
Yeah, they really misrepresented the whole.
It was really like, and I hate to talk bad about people, but it just seemed like podunk backwoods scholarship. And I was like, what is this? I was like, everything they're saying is obviously wrong. It's so easy.
I think that people have become more, like, we all knew this before, but especially since COVID, we realize that like having a degree or a certificate in something doesn't mean that you know what you're talking about. And especially with these seminaries and these, religious schools.
Yeah.
Dr. Johnson brought it up, I think the first time he was with us, that if you just know what to say,
if you memorize the handbook,
Yeah. And so that's the kind of people that Doreen Virtue will have, or they just had that video come out about Matthew Bates, about his book.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched that one.
I watched about 10 minutes of it before I got
they said
mad.
that he was oh shoot, what was the word they used? Something about an assault on the gospel, or the gospel under fire, or something like that. And it's like did you even read the book?
He's like literally like pledge your allegiance to Jesus alone. It's like heresy. Like what?
Yeah. So anyway, people just remember that, you know, somebody having a prefix to their name or having a certain number of years in education
don't mean
because
anything.
Because then you go, well, where did you study, or where were you a pastor, or where were you?
Right.
And they're going to say what church they were part of, what denomination they were part of. And you're going to know immediately what their biases
are. The degrees and all that. Like it's not just throwaway. Like it is important. Like Dr. Heiser was a doctor, and he had his doctorate in you know, decades of Hebrew scholarship. But it's just like, how are you biased or are you truthful? You know, are you indoctrinated with your denomination and that's what we appreciated about Heiser so much, was that he was like, you know what, let's look at it from away from all those traditions. And
it's occurring to me that like you and I have not done an episode by ourselves in a while.
Yeah, it is.
And I have a really bad habit of rambling. Mm-hmm. Like we've already gotten off track a couple times. We're not going to get through all this outline tonight.
No. We'll break it up into a couple parts, I guess.
But props to Josh, because Josh made a very like thorough outline, and he usually never does the outlines for these episodes.
Yep. Look at this.
It's got like all kinds of notes and definitions.
Look at this. I did my homework.
So
I mean, it was stuff that's like been in my head for a while. I just needed to write it down.
Yeah, this was your baby. This was your pet project.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't have to go by this outline, you know.
Oh, we do.
Dot by dot, but
I'm looking up some places. I think they're in your outline, but some of the keywords tonight, we need to talk about angel, which has come up before.
Right.
And then we'll get into like more specific things, because like the biblically accurate angels are based on Ezekiel 1 and Ezekiel 10. The beings, you know, with four faces. And so we'll talk about that. And there's some other places in the Bible that angels appear that you may or may not have thought of. Yeah. And so tonight we're going to be questioning, analyzing, speculating, you know, what is an angel? What do we presuppose based on our culture, living in 2025 in America, in a predominantly Christian nation, lots of Catholic and you know, the Baptist, like non-denominational. There's all these groups.
Yep.
And so anyway, my point is that there's a lot about angels that we plug right into the text when we're reading it, and we don't think about it.
Yeah.
So Josh, do you know? I'll just get started with a little bit of like trivia here, some Bible trivia. When you were studying this, should we just talk about the word angel first, and then I'll ask you this question?
Yeah.
Okay, talk about the word angel first, and then I'll do this question.
Well, it really kind of stemmed from what Dr. Johnson said in one of the episodes when he was talking about the word angel, and I was like, so I think I asked him, I was like, so where did this English word angel come from? He's like, well, they made it up. Like translators basically made this word up. They took it from, which I was confused. I thought they took it from the Greek, which was angelos, but I thought it was a transliteration. But it's supposedly it's taken. Let's see what I have in the notes here. The English word angel comes from the Greek angelos to the Latin angeles or angelus, into Old English angel, into modern English angel. So it's not a direct transliteration like I thought it was. It kind of went through a couple of words to get to angel.
Right, but something to be aware of when that happens is that's not like saying, so if I translate milk, like if I'm, you know, sitting in a Spanish class and I see the word leche, right? And then in English, I know that that's milk. And I know what milk is because I've experienced milk.
Right.
I put it in my cereal every morning. I put it in my coffee. Like I drink it. It comes from a cow. Like I've gone on field trips as a kid where they milk the cow. Like I've experienced milk. You don't have to explain to me what milk is.
Right.
We don't have that with words like angel.
Mm-hmm.
We think it is what we've inherited from, the traditions that we've inherited from the Christians before us, the early church. So it's not like there's this Greek word angelos and there's this Latin word and that's the English word angel. Like the English word is made up. It's nothing.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. Like listeners, as we're going through this, there's a lot of words like that in the Bible. And this came up whenever we were doing the Elijah story and the fire from heaven. And people were saying, well, it's fire, right? So there's
Dude, that's like still one of my favorite episodes. I loved it.
Yeah. And one of the best inside jokes we've ever had, I think.
It's so good.
But
it says fire.
But there's things in the Bible, or like we'll get to it tonight, but like seraphim and cherubim and some of these words, there's just not an English word for it.
Right.
Atonement. We talked about atonement over the last several episodes. Atonement's a made up word. It doesn't mean anything. Like it just means what we
put on it.
Think it means, right? Yeah. And so that's the point of this podcast ever since episode 1 has been trying to take the ancient Near Eastern view of it. And we're not scholars, but to the best of our understanding and based on what we've read and studied and listened to other people explain. There's things where you're just going to have to keep that in mind. And I'm going to point that out in a minute with some of these passages that talk about angels. But was there anything else you wanted to say about the word angel?
No, people can go and do a word study on it. And it's really interesting just how we got from those more ancient languages into English, how that word came about. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's a made up word. It doesn't mean anything. We typically automatically assume it means like a divine being, right?
Yeah.
Like even if you're not a Christian, every group has some version of angels and demons, right? And if you're in something like New Age or something that's not from some other culture, like I'm thinking things like Hinduism or something like that might have their own terms for those kinds of beings and their own classes of beings. A lot of things like New Agers, they'll just call them angels just because that's what everybody calls them. They might not distinguish between different types of. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. So something that I thought was interesting. And this is the trivia bit. Two different questions. Do you know the first time? Oh, wait, I can't ask this yet. Hold on. There's something we didn't explain. You didn't explain what the original Greek word meant. You explained how we got the English word.
Oh, yeah.
But what does angel mean in the Bible? I would do that next.
Well, angel is not in the Bible. Actually. No,
if
but
you've been paying attention,
messenger, somebody who's sent
right
on a mission. Yeah.
Right.
Almost like a emissary or a missionary.
Yep. So that's in the Old Testament, obviously not Greek. If you read the Old Testament in Hebrew, it's malak.
Malak, yeah.
And so it just means messenger.
Yep.
So now, remember what I said, that angel is a made up word. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It's just the idea and the actual letters themselves and everything.
We give it meaning, yeah.
We give it meaning. It's what we've inherited.
Yeah.
So what if every time in the Bible, if it was translated literally, what if it just said messenger, right? This is one of the interesting things that Dr. Johnson and Mike Chu do on the Divine Council Worldview. Because again, his whole thing, he's explaining on our show, is just reading the Bible left to right.
Yeah.
Like, don't presuppose anything. Don't put your denominational beliefs and don't whatever. Like, we start in Genesis 1, we go left to right, and when we see something, we pretend like this is new to me. What does it mean? And you have to look at the historical context for that. So,
right.
So now my trivia question, Malak. I was going to say, do you know where the first time an angel shows up in the Bible is? I didn't know this one.
Well, I mean, I have an idea, but you tell me. School me, Ryan.
Well, give me your guess first, because my guess was Sodom and Gomorrah.
Where the term Malak.
Yeah. The actual word for angel, Malak. Do you know the first time an angel is mentioned?
Yeah, no, I don't.
My guess was Genesis 19, which is Sodom and Gomorrah, because it does say angel there. But it's actually Genesis 16 with Hagar, when Sarah kicks her out.
Oh,
and she goes into
appears to her.
It says the angel of the Lord appeared. And so again, think about what if it just means
messenger of the Lord.
Messenger of the Lord. Now here's what's really interesting, and I'll do this as an exercise. I'm going to go to Genesis. Let's see, Genesis 32.
Now that's not where we believe angels are first in the narrative, though.
That's right. That's the second part of it. That's the other question. So where do you think angels are the first? Are
where are they hinted at first?
Yeah,
Genesis 1:26.
That's right. Ding, ding, ding. All right. Anyone who's been paying attention to our podcast, should know.
Yeah.
Genesis
people,
1.
People don't like that, bro. People do not like that.
Yep.
God
Genesis 1:26.
Let's make man in our image, bro.
Technically, then the other question would be like, well, when do you think angels were created?
Mm-hmm.
Because it could be before that, like when he made the stars and the sun and the moon. Some people would say the stars were angels.
Yeah. Well, that goes into some of the titles that we use for angels.
Yeah.
I made a little list of like titles and stuff, but if you're on another thought, we can finish that.
Well, let's do that next. So Genesis 32, here's what I want to do just as a challenge to people again. Just in reading your Bible with fresh eyes, people are going to call us heretics because we're trying to change the Bible. Like we get that a lot.
It says fire.
We get that a lot.
But it says fire.
Here's a really good example of why it's not offensive to the Bible to do this as an exercise, okay? Genesis 32. I'm going to read it in the NET, New English Translation.
Yay.
This is Jacob and his family have left Laban. He's a rich man now. He's heading towards Esau's territory. And he's passing the place where he had the stairway vision, or the ziggurat, the ladder.
That's where Led Zeppelin wrote their song.
Yeah, stairway. So he knows he's encountered spiritual beings here before because he had that vision. And he named it Bethel because he said, surely this is the house of God. Dude, right?
He had a freaking UFC fight with an angel right there.
So, right. Lost. Okay. So Genesis 32 is where that fight happens.
Yeah.
But people like that story about him wrestling the angel. It's like 5 verses long. They don't look at the context of the whole chapter. Genesis 32 verse 1 says, so Jacob went on his way and the angels of God met him. Wait, what? Wait, angels? Okay. So it says, when Jacob saw them, he exclaimed, this is the camp of God. So he named the place Mahanaim.
Okay, pause right there for just a second. This is going to come back later because I really noticed this in my study of looking where angels actually show up in the narrative, not visions and dreams, which we're going to talk about.
Right.
When they actually physically show up. Physically. Not spiritually, not a mirage, not a floaty smoke monster. Like they're physically there. Dude, one thing I noticed, I started looking, it was almost in every single verse, and you just read it. When people see them, there's an instant reaction.
Yeah.
And we need to talk about why, but it's very, very cool when you look at some of these verses and you see it's like when he saw them, when he saw them, when he saw him, like he immediately did this or immediately did that.
Yeah.
Like, there's an instant recognition.
Right. They know that there's something different about
exactly. Yeah.
These beings.
They're men, they're people, they're human looking, but there's something about them that's like, oh, like a lot of those verses, it says they bowed down. They bowed their faces to the ground.
Yeah. I'm going to keep reading this passage. I'm going to get it on Blue Letter Bible so I can actually click on the words.
And this
So
is going to connect to the theory that I have later.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right. So it says Jacob went on his way, and the angels. Now remember that word is malak, right. The angels of God. So if we read it literally in English, or I don't know if literally is the correct word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It would be Jacob went on his way, and the malak, the messengers of Elohim, met him. Right. Now, Blue Letter Bible says that of God there is a proper name. So he's talking about the Lord. But it's just messengers, right? It would just be the messengers of God. That doesn't imply anything spiritual except that they're from the Lord. Somehow they're associated with the Lord, with Yahweh. And so he says this is the camp, this is God's camp. So he called the place Mahanaim. And then verse 3. And Jacob sent messengers before him to his brother Esau. Guess what that word messengers is? It's malak. So why in verse 1 did it get translated angels? And in verse 3 it got translated messengers. It's the same word.
Right.
Now, so you have like, this is where we go like, okay, option A, option B, option C, option D, none of the above, you know? So like A is, because of his reaction in verse 2, this is God's camp. These are the messengers of the Lord. We know that they're divine beings, not humans. So they just plugged in the word angel so that when we read it in English, we automatically assume that they're spiritual beings.
Yeah.
That's what the translators are doing for you. They're trying to do the work for you. They're like, there are clues in this passage that we think these are divine beings.
Right.
But obviously we don't think Jacob is sending spiritual beings to meet with Esau. We think he's sending humans.
Right.
So we're just going to translate that messengers. So option A is the way that it's actually translated in English. They're angels in verse 1, but Jacob sends messengers. And then later on, verse 6, and the messengers returned to Jacob. It said, we came with your brother Esau, and he's coming to meet you, and there's 400 men with him. And Jacob is greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people. That's when this whole thing starts. Okay. Great story, great chapter. 32 and 33 have a lot in them that people just skip right over. But you see how it got translated messengers when they're talking to Jacob. So option B would be, well, if they're super spiritual beings in verse 1, why can't they be spiritual beings in verses 3 and 6? Why didn't Jacob roll up on a camp of angels and go, hey, can you guys go talk to my brother for me? I mean, maybe it could happen. I don't know. We're just speculating. Right. Then option C would be, they're all humans. And so this would kind of be like, I think of Abraham meeting with Melchizedek. And it says that he was a priest to the Lord Most High. So there are people in the world that are not related to Abraham and not related to Isaac and not related to Jacob that worship Yahweh.
Yeah.
And so it could be that these are prophets or priests or something. And so it could be that Jacob went on his way and the messengers of God met him. They could be humans. What if they're all humans?
Yeah.
So what if he rolls up on a camp of humans and he sends humans to go meet with Esau? That would be option C. Option D is, we don't know what it is. It could be none of those. But, most likely option A, it is the way that it's written. That works. That's fine. That's probably correct.
Yeah.
But I hope it shows people the work that translators are trying to do for you.
Right.
And they're not guaranteed to get it right every time.
Right. Read carefully.
Yeah. That is going to come up again when we talk about different kinds of angels later, because Isaiah does the same thing with the seraphim. And other times that angels are mentioned, it gets confusing. So like in Genesis 32, after Jacob splits up the camp, he spends the night alone in the desert. This is when he wrestles with, everybody says what? The angel. They say, oh, Jacob wrestled an angel. Or some people just jump all the way to the end and they'll say he wrestled with Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, but what did he wrestle with in the story? It says a man. So like in verse 1, you had messengers of God, angels of God Then in verse 3, you had Malak, but they're humans, messengers. Then in verse 6, you had messengers, but they're humans, so we get translated messengers.
Mm-hmm.
In Genesis 32, when he or further down, when he wrestles that person, it calls him a man. It doesn't say Malak. So again, there's a lot that
but
people.
There's something about that man though that was strange.
Right. And I would love to explain my theory on what happened here and theories that I've read. I don't think it fits in this episode, so let's do it maybe in the future. But again, this is an example of translators are doing the work for you, and also we presuppose things based on what we're taught in Sunday school, based on how the church we grew up in, based on what we learned, what we hear from people who we respect. We presuppose a lot of things. And when people read that, they think, oh, he wrestled an angel, or he wrestled Jesus, or he wrestled a demon, or whatever. But it says a man, you know? So it could have been one of those guys. It could have been one of those guys that went and talked to Esau. Esau could have been like, hey, why don't you kill Jacob for?
And then a lot of the times, which, we can talk about Christophanies or whatever, but the Lord appears to Abraham and he calls him a man.
Yeah.
He said, I saw two, or it says that he saw two men coming to the camp, and then he calls him Lord.
Yeah, Genesis 18. So that's definitely one we need to get to.
So they're in the form of human beings, and whether they, I've heard people say, well, they can shapeshift, and I don't see anything in the text that says they shapeshift, but
yeah,
it's possible, I guess. But
it is funny here.
I think they just look like people.
Yeah. So how our Bible has the convenient little headings for each paragraph or whatever. So yeah, the heading in the New English translation, I'm sure other translations do this, but it says Jacob wrestles with God.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposing a lot. That's assuming a lot.
Yeah.
So it says a man. The reason people say he wrestled with God is because at the end of the story, Jacob said, I have seen God face to face, and I've been spared.
Right. Yeah.
So they take that part literally, and they go, oh, it was God. It was God.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on in this story.
Well, what was the word for God there? Elohim, probably.
Yeah, let's see.
Doesn't mean God Yahweh.
Well, let's find out. Jacob, I clicked on it.
But an Elohim is also an angel.
Yeah, exactly. Where did it go? Jacob named the place Peniel.
This is a good example of Bible reading and Bible study is not as easy as you think it is. There's a lot of stuff that you need to think about.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to put this disclaimer in there. You don't have to. No, this doesn't bother everybody.
But if you really want to get into the the weeds of it.
The reason it matters to us is because Josh and I are into apologetics, and I hear people say ridiculous things, and I'm like, oh, if y'all only knew, let's see. It does say Elohim. It just says plural masculine noun.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even say.
Most of the time,
it doesn't even have the title the. Sometimes it'll say the God,
Lord, the angel of the Lord, or
it'll be So anyway, it doesn't even look like it has that. It could just be I have seen. Oh, I know why they translated it capital G is because probably the tense is singular. He says I've seen God face to face, so I would bet seen and face are probably all singular, and that's why they translated it that way.
I mean, I definitely think it's a divine being. Who I don't know exactly, but yeah, I mean, for Homeboy to touch his hip and it pops out of socket, that's pretty powerful.
Oh, face. Okay, I'm wrong again. Face is. This is what we talked to Mike Chu about.
Yeah.
About Hebrew grammar.
Yeah.
So face is plural because Elohim is plural. Okay, so it doesn't tell you. It doesn't let you know who it is.
It's a multi-faced angel with eyes all over. There it is, right there.
I know.
Plural faces.
What about seen? He says, I have seen
the face of an ox and of a lion and of an eagle.
First person singular. I have seen, so that's singular. Okay. So see, folks, by the way, Blue Letter Bible is the website. BlueLetterBible.org is the website that I use for that. I've used it for years. It's a great website. But again, they don't get everything right either. Like you
Bible
really
Hub
have
is
to...
another good one. They have an interlinear Bible that you can read the English and the original side by side, or like right underneath each other.
Okay, enough of my soapbox about Genesis 32. Yeah. Well, we were talking about Genesis 18, where it also says they're men. Do you want to look at that one real quick, or do you have something else?
No, let's do it. I mean, I would go through some of the titles of angels and everything, but yeah.
Yeah, well, man apparently is one of them. So
yeah.
This happens again in Daniel. Spoiler alert. Genesis 18, verse 1, and the Lord, so that's the name, the Lord, right? Appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre. Wait, am I looking at the right? Oh, okay. Appeared to him. So this is, okay, here's the way that this is written. The Lord appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre, and he sat at the door of his tent. As he sat at the tent, the door of his tent in the heat of the day. That's the prologue to the story. That sets up the story. So then it says, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing in front of him. And when he saw them, here's what Josh was talking about. He ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed to the earth.
Bowed, yeah.
If I have found favor in your sight, do not pass. Now, what's interesting about these guys is it calls them men. And then when they're talking while they're eating together, eating, by the way.
Eating, yes.
The Lord said, so there's the name again, the Lord, I will surely return to you, and Sarah's going to have a son. Yada, yada.
Yeah, and he predicts the future, which only God does. Angels, like spirit beings, don't do that. Only God predicts the future, right?
Well, I guess as far as we know, I can't think of a reason not to say that. But that's the kind of thing, see, that's an example of the kind of thing that I try not to assume when I read.
Unless an angel is like, unless God is like, go tell Sarah that she's going to have, kind of like the angel coming to Mary. Like,
right. If an angel has some predictive knowledge, has some special knowledge, it's probably they're just relaying knowledge that the Lord gave them. Right. So Genesis 18:16, then the men set out from there. Abraham went with them, and the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? By the way, talking about the Trinity, people say, how could Jesus pray to the Father if they're one? This comes up in apologetics a lot. Genesis 18:17, you have the Lord praying to himself, by the way. The Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? So now it says the men have gone on ahead of him, but the Lord stops and talks to Abraham.
What is that word, Lord, there? Is it Adonai? Not Adonai. What does it say there?
It's the what is it called? Tetragrammaton?
Tetragrammaton, okay. Yeah. So Yahweh.
Yeah. It's saying Jehovah in here, but yes, that one. So it says, and here's where the first kind of distinction happens between the Lord. It says that the Lord tells him, because of the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah, I will go down to see whether they have done everything that I've heard. And it says in verse 22, so the men turned from there and went towards Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. So is Abraham now speaking to a disembodied, like to a voice in heaven? And the men went on, or did some of the men go on? 2 of the men, and the Lord stayed behind. I think that the Lord is still physically present.
Yeah, I think
because at the end of the story, when he's like, well, what if 10 people are found? And the Lord says, if there's 10, I won't destroy it. Verse 33 says, then the Lord went on his way.
Yeah.
So like clearly the Lord's still standing there. And then chapter 19 does something interesting with the men that went on ahead. Chapter 19 verse 1 says, the 2 Malak came to Sodom. So now it's calling them angels. So they were something different from the Lord.
They were men.
Yeah, they were all called men. So they didn't have all the eyeballs and the wings and the but it says there were 3 men. So now we suppose from what we've read that 2 of them went on ahead. And the Lord stayed behind to talk to Abraham, and then the Lord caught up with them after the fact. But the two that went on ahead are not themselves God, because it calls them messengers.
Messengers, yeah.
Right? So then the messengers came to Sodom and they met Lot. So again, like, you know, it seems, it like on one hand, it seems complicated because it's like, oh, how am I going to keep track of all these words? But on the other hand, it's not that hard. It's like, why would it call them men? And then it would call them angels. Like, that should be a clue that.
Well, you're right. You gotta look for little clues and hints in the text that can guide you. Some is a little more work than others, but what does Lot go to where Lot sees the men?
Yeah, it's Genesis 19:1. They showed up, and Lot is sitting at the gate of Sodom.
And what does it say he did?
When he saw them, he rose to meet them and bowed himself with his face to the earth.
And bowed himself. Okay. Dude, I see that so much. Like, there's so many instances where people see angels, or they see these men, quote unquote men, but there's something that they recognize instantly, and there's an instant reaction. Like, immediately he rose up and like bowed his face to the ground. Like, they know what they're looking at.
Right. And I do think, I'm just going to say this,
and this gives credence to my theory, dude. I'm telling you, I'm building it up.
Okay, all right, I'm following you.
Which we've talked about before, but
I'm going to give the counterpoint that that fact doesn't mean they're not human necessarily. Like, I only say that because I think that it's important to exercise as we read, what things am I presupposing as I'm reading this.
Yeah.
Like, when it mentions messengers, what if they're just humans?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So,
but then later on, the context kind of gives you like, okay, they strike the people with blindness, and
they do, which could be which could be a miracle. I mean, you had, like I said, you had prophets and you had
but
so, like,
it's not.
we see humans performing miracles. Actually, the clue that these are not normal human beings is actually in the New Testament. When Jude compares it to Genesis 6, he says that the angels, I forget the word that he used there, but they left their proper dwelling, and they mixed with humans. And then he flips it and he said, and just like that Sodom longed for strange flesh. And he's saying that in one story you had angels interfering with humans, and in the other story you had humans offending angels. So there is kind of obviously a clear cultural belief that these are not human beings, that they're more than that.
I never thought about that like kind of a Genesis 6 residue on that story of the men wanting the angels.
Yeah, the thing is, when you read Genesis 19, it never gives you a clue as to whether the men of Sodom knew that these were, like, Lot recognized them immediately as something important, something different. It doesn't say whether or not the men of Sodom did.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be that they did, and they were just like, oh, these beautiful men.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not necessarily a Genesis 6 scenario, like they were trying to perform some sort of ritual, and, you know.
Well, just the idea of like angels and humans mixing.
Right. That they each have
something sexual.
Yes. That sexual activity is involved in both of those stories.
Right.
And we did our episode on like Aleister Crowley and that kind of stuff. Like the sexual activity aspect is a common thread through any type of witchcraft and occult, and, you know, so
it's almost like a doorway,
or
like a portal,
or like a stairway. Okay. So, all right. I've rambled about them being called men. I've shown, the other example is Daniel 10, which is Daniel having his vision. This is like the Prince of Persia stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it says that, I was left alone. I saw this great vision.
All right. So read that again.
Wait, hold on. Yeah. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. Daniel 10:5.
So right off the bat, he says, "I see a vision."
Yeah, I see a vision.
So it's not literal.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So this is a vision because, we're gonna get there.
He's not.
I'm glad you said that.
Something. Yeah.
He says, "I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a man, clothed in linen, with
lemon.
lemons.
Clothed in pine sol.
Adventure Time guy. What's his name? Unacceptable.
Yeah.
A man clothed in linen with a belt of fine gold around his waist. His body was like beryl. His face was like the appearance of lightning, not fire, lightning.
Yeah.
His eyes like flaming torches.
So
his
see the symbolic.
Yeah,
symbolic.
It starts out saying he's a man.
It's like this, and it's like that, and it's like this, and yeah.
So he's having a vision, and he calls this thing a man, but clearly he's not describing a person, right?
It doesn't seem so.
So
a very shiny person.
And so he says, he keeps on describing him, and then here's your other thing that you've been bringing up. I heard the sound of his words, and as I heard the sound of his words, I fell on my face in a deep sleep with my face to the ground, and behold, a hand touched me, and I set me trembling on my hands and knees. So he had a response too, so yeah, that's the other point.
Well, just the little fact that he tells you what he's seeing. He's like, this is a vision. I'm in a vision. What is a vision? Think of like a daydream, or I've never had a vision, so I can't really describe it, but the idea is you're being shown something in your mind. I like the way Tim Alberino explains it. And a lot of my ideas and speculation comes from a lot of what Tim talks about with angels and spiritual beings and stuff. But you're being shown something, like God wants to show you something in your own mind, and it's subjective to you. It's what you understand. He's showing you things that are, it's a God message that he's trying to explain to you, and he's going to explain it to you in a way that you understand it in your own mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so whatever you see in that vision is it's in your head. Does that? I don't know if I'm explaining that.
No,
right.
you're making sense to me that,
Right,
that God is going to speak to you in a way you're going to understand. There's another layer to that too, though, because Daniel's having a vision, but then he has to write it down.
Yeah.
So like the Lord's speaking to him in a way he's going to understand, and then he has to write it in a way that
and explain
everyone else is going to understand.
Right. Well, it's like, think about when you have some crazy like dream, and you wake up and you're like telling your spouse or your friend or your kids or whatever, man, it was like I was there, but I wasn't there. And it was like people that I know that like I never met them before, but I knew them. And then I was flying, and it's like, it's like trying to explain something so strange, but it made sense in your head at the time, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only analogy I can think of is like dreams that we have.
So angels, when people see them you mentioned this earlier. Do you want to explain this? That when they appear in the narrative,
right,
they behave and appear as men.
Right. So like the ones you just read, where Abraham looks and sees two men, he's actually seeing beings, like physical people. And he calls them men because they look like humans. Or like what Tim says, is like we look like them because they were created before us. Yeah. Which is a very, very interesting point, man. I mean, it makes so much sense. They were created before us. And I love what Tim says about like physical. Like, just because they're spiritual beings doesn't mean that they're not physical. Like, they have bodies like we do. I mean, if we really take the Genesis 6 story as we know it should be taken, they physically did things with their bodies. And they used their bodies against the Lord, and it worked, like they procreated with humans. So they're compatible with us in a certain way, I guess. Don't know all the details of that, but they're compatible, and it worked.
Yeah, you don't think they shapeshifted into humans or something?
Nope.
Like, who's the guy?
There's no indication of that, and every time you see them in the narrative, that's not a vision or a dream, they're called men.
Yeah.
I think they have bodies just like us. They're just supernatural bodies. Supernatural is a term that was coined. I have it in the notes here. Was it Aquinas? No, it wasn't Aquinas. It was somebody else. But okay, supernatural. Blah, blah, blah. I don't remember who coined that. It was during like a long time ago. But anyway, they coined this phrase of like supernatural. It was Aquinas, I think. No, he made it popular. The idea of like it's natural, like our bodies are natural, they're biological, but these angels and these other beings, they're supernatural. They're beyond human flesh. It's not human flesh. It's whatever they are flesh, you know?
Well, it's almost like just saying superhuman would be a better word, right?
Right, almost, yeah.
Because there's nothing unnatural
not
about them. They're not I mean, they are natural.
Right.
Right.
Right. Because
Like
they're walking, they're talking, they're
Yeah.
eating, they're drinking, they're
Yeah.
procreating with humans. They're compatible with our physiology as much as we can read in the text. They do everything that we do.
Yeah.
But there's something beyond us, and that's what super means. It's something beyond our human flesh or our human physiology. They're not human. We're human, but we're made very much like them, a little lower than them, is what the text says.
Yeah.
And I think that's hinting at we're not as super as they are. But
we're not as super.
We're very much very, 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 very similar.
Yeah, Psalms 8, you have made them a little lower than the Elohim.
Yeah.
For a time.
And I think that's and right. We're gonna go back. We're gonna change.
Yep.
And we're gonna be supernatural like they are.
In 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Paul talks about that. And it's interesting that Jesus, after he resurrected, he ate with the disciples.
Yeah, he ate fish, man.
And so there is something to that at least the spiritual bodies that we have will have some sort of physicality.
Well, there's gonna be a new earth created.
Well, I think about this too. We've talked about, like, I think in our aliens episode, we've talked about extra dimensions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And how, there's the flat world example, the 2D example, that, like, if you have a piece of paper, I'm 3-dimensional, but if I try to interact with a 2D environment, they will only see, like, the circle
2D form, and,
like, the circle will change in shape and size, but they'll never perceive the third dimension.
Right.
And so if we were just to describe angels as 4th dimensional beings, then they have a way to pass through our 3rd dimension, but we're only able to perceive that aspect of them, that those characteristics that are perceivable to us. So they may be able to eat and drink, and I mean they fight. There's stories about them fighting people, whether you, like, I mean, the Jacob example for one, if that's the road you want to go. But look at the conquest stories in, like, Joshua and stuff, talking about the angel of the Lord and, the heaven's armies. What about, here's my pet peeve one, the Christmas story with the shepherds. All the artwork that we see, like, and I was just reading, I've got a little Bible story book that I read with my kids.
Yeah, they're all hovering in the sky.
They all have wings. They're all flying through the sky. Very well could have been what happened, but I kind of think that they were standing on the ground. I think that you've got shepherds that are out in the wilderness, alone, quiet, watching these sheep, and look at the reaction that, Abraham and Lot and Daniel and all these people had when they interacted with angels. Imagine one of these just rolling up on you in the wilderness, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like, and it says that the shepherds were terrified, right? Yeah. And he says, "Hey, it's cool. I come here with good news." And then it says suddenly they were surrounded by a multitude. So like, then all of a sudden you're just surrounded by these angels, right? Yeah. And I just kind of imagine, instead of them having wings and just flying away, that they were a crowd surrounding the shepherds, and then they all just walked off to the next, maybe they just disappear or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it kind of goes along with what I'm saying. Like, don't read the Bible. Read it how you want, but
don't read the Bible. The end.
The way I've been trying to read it especially with like spiritual quote unquote things, is it's not ethereal. It's not vapors in the wind. It's not ghosts. That's what we think. I think when we think of a spirit or a ghost. Now there are instances of that kind of thing in the Bible, but when we're talking about spirit beings like angels, think of them as physical, because they're physical. Like literally, the text says they're there. They're there.
Right.
They're speaking. They're talking. They're breathing. They're eating. They're like it. And like Alberino was saying, he's like, we're not taught to think that way. We're taught to think of it as like supernatural, spiritual, in this other realm of, well, they came from another dimension and all this weird stuff. But the one thing I wanted to say was like when they are seen, there's some sort of, it has to be a physical marker that gives the viewer the impression of there's something exotic about these men. There's something different about these people that I'm looking at here, because the way they react, almost in every single case, I haven't seen one yet that it doesn't, and in some cases it says that people are afraid. That's a very knee-jerk reaction to seeing someone. If you're afraid, okay, why are you afraid? And it's not because they're these, spinning wheels with eyes and wings all over them. Like, it's not.
While that would be terrifying.
Right, yeah. They're not a grotesque monster. They're people. They look like people. So what is it that, merits this knee-jerk reaction every single time almost of like, oh my gosh, like, there they are. Like, and then they bow their face down or they humble themselves. And it's not that they're worshiping them. It's just like, oh my gosh, they're showing respect and honor to someone of it seems to be prestige, in their presence.
You think it's albinism?
I definitely think it's that. I
Really?
mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Mm.
I think it's their appearance. They look like men. We've talked about this before with the albinism thing or whatever. That the white bleached white skin, and that would be such a stark image in a brown culture.
Yeah. It could be. I kind of always just picture them as like glowing or something,
Glowing?
Think about like
what?
No. Think about like Moses when
like
Moses
radioactive.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Moses.
But that doesn't mean that they're not white skinned. Also,
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Since we're playing, I've been playing that game tonight.
Right,
it doesn't mean that.
Right.
It could be both.
That's right.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had that.
They were glowing albinos.
But like in like Moses when
his face shone.
Yes, he spent time in the Lord's presence, and he was
He had
shining.
to wear a veil. He had to wear a freaking COVID mask.
So I wonder if there was something about their countenance, something about their,
I think it too, because I mean there's
their aura, there's what people would say nowadays.
Well, there's some parts where it talks about they were shining in shining apparel.
Yeah,
doesn't it? I think it says. What does it say when the angels show up and roll the stone from Jesus' tomb? I think it says that they showed up and they were shining in shiny apparel or something like that. Their clothes were bright. Maybe they were just wearing neon 80s colors. Like showing up with like a Bugle Boy shirt, like hot pink.
This stone is lame.
This stone is totally gone, bro.
Righteous.
Oh, I'm a choke. That's funny.
Well, speaking of shining, I mean, isn't Shining Ones?
Yeah, I mean that's another connotation too.
Shining Ones. Well, I think you had that in your outline.
Yeah. I was going to back up to like the stars and shining celestial bodies, and so it's a long list. Like they're called a lot of different things. Angels. Well, not necessarily, but we call them angels, archangels, cherubs, cherubim, seraphim, holy ones, sons of God. Sons of God, I think, is one of the more common ones in the Old Testament. Spirits, hosts, which means armies. think Alberino talked about that as well. Heavenly hosts, the heavens armies, stars, morning stars, the sun, the moon, the stars, all this like celestial space imagery, planets. It's all connotations to spiritual beings, angelic spiritual beings, and that's what they would have. That's what they would have. I think John Johnson's talked about that. Like, they look up and they see a star moving. They're like, okay, it's moving. It's alive. It's a spiritual being up there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pulling up a couple passages here to back you up.
Yeah.
So we asked earlier, like, where are angels first mentioned in the Bible? And you said Genesis 1. So it could be the definitely let us make man in our image, I think is the Lord addressing the council, letting them know what his plan to create humans is.
Right. Now, that gets people really hot, bro.
I know.
That gets people really hot. And why? Like, why is it such a big deal because we've been indoctrinated? Well, that's the Trinity. And who came up with that? Don't know.
Well, and because
that's what we're running with.
Because they jump to, are you saying angels made men? That's blasphemous. Angels can't make men. Yeah, but I mean,
it's not in the text at all.
That's not right. That's not what it says. I will also throw out that in the book of Jubilees, which is the angel of the Lord telling Moses basically everything that happened.
Book.
Yeah. He says that the dirt that the Lord crafted Adam from, he sent angels to the four corners of the earth to gather dirt. And they brought the dirt to the Lord. And then the Lord breathed life into the man. That's so cool. Like, I don't think people, this is the problem. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. People don't get the council idea.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think angels do all the time? Like, they're just chilling. Like,
they just sing, Ryan. They sing.
Yeah.
They're constantly on 24/7 on repeat, holy, 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 and that's it.
And I think that we've gotten lazy in the sense that we believe. I'm not saying this isn't true, so don't stone me. But the cop out we're taught, and what people do in their laziness is, well, God's omnipotent, so he doesn't need help.
Yeah.
Or God knows everything. He doesn't need. He doesn't need. Scouts or whatever, but like in the Bible, one of the names,
and that's true.
Yeah, that can be true.
That is true.
But
it's not what he wants.
Yeah, read this.
What about what he wants?
It's also, I mean, not what he wants, but also like think about the authors that are involved in what we now call the Bible and the world that they lived in.
Mm-hmm.
You had a king that ruled over the land, and he had help. Like, he didn't do everything. And so I'm not saying God isn't all powerful and God doesn't know everything, but in the context, they would not have questioned like the king sending a messenger to do something for him. Yeah. That doesn't make the king less powerful.
Right. Yeah.
And so
it actually makes him more powerful in that context of kingship, because he has the authority and the power to send someone.
Right. He's the one delegating.
And if you don't do it, you're in trouble.
Right. Which is what we see in Deuteronomy 32 or Psalms 82, right? Mm-hmm. You're not governing, judging correctly. You've been wicked. And so they got punished. And so again, it can be both. God can be all powerful and all knowing, but also use helpers. Yeah, right. And I mean, I hear atheists all the time say, well, why doesn't God step in and do this? Or why doesn't God, if God wants us all to be Christians, why doesn't he just make us all Christians or whatever?
Yeah.
And like the gap that people don't fill in is like the church is the body of Christ on earth. So like, again, that whatever you permit, I know that's a little out of context, but whatever you permit on earth, that line that we went through earlier, like, what's the answer to evil and chaos and death on the earth? Well, it's the church. Like, God is interacting. He is intervening, but it's through us. And so when those things happen, it's because we are not living up to our full potential.
Right.
I understand that like humans are not humans are not perfect. We have weaknesses and failures.
Well,
so we are strengthened by the Holy Spirit to do those things.
Right.
But
who did he give dominion to?
Yeah, he gave it to Adam.
He gave it to us as humanity.
Yep.
So this is our realm, and we're supposed to team up with him and enact his will, his kingdom come.
So I wanted to, let's see. We've been going for an hour already.
Yeah, man.
I hope people are enjoying this as much as we are. This is a little more nerdy than... Well, it's not more nerdy. It's just...
But the main... So with the physicality thing, though, I wanted to get to the whole amalgamation of the weird creatures and all that, and why that's not angels. If we can go to some of those verses, pull that up, Jamie. Like how Joe Rogan always says, pull that verse up, Jamie, about the crazy creatures in heaven. Yeah. But every time you read those crazy, the eyes and the faces and the wings and the flying around and the wheels, and it's always in the context of I had a vision, or I was put into a dream, and in the dream I saw this, and every single time it has nothing to do with the physical reality. It's
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't have cut you off.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to read that next. When you were talking about names for angels earlier,
yeah,
I was trying to find one particular one. I don't know that I was successful.
Like seraphim and stuff.
But here's one. Okay, here we go. So let me read some of these real quick. Job 38, we were saying earlier, where do angels first appear?
Oh, yeah.
And it could be stars when he created the sun, moon, and stars. There's a traditional, that connection in the mythology, in the ancient Near Eastern mythology, with stars and divine beings. So that could be when he created angels. We don't know. Job 38 is when he says,
when they shouted,
who determined the measurements of the earth, who stretched the line upon it, where its bases sunk, or who laid its cornerstone, when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy.
The sons of God.
So there you go. You have morning stars, you have sons of God.
Stars and sons of God, yeah. Almost interchangeable.
You also have that made me think of
so that's talking about the creation of everything.
Right.
And then it says that the angels, the sons of God, were happy about it and they celebrated. So they were there witnessing it.
Yeah.
So they were here before us.
Another one that has another interesting title is Ezekiel 28. We've talked about this before. Talking to the king of Tyre, the lament. You were an anointed guardian cherub. We can talk about that word in a little bit. I placed you. You were on the holy mountain of God in the midst of the stones of fire. You walked. Now,
fire.
Stones of fire would be.
It says fire.
Yeah, it says fire.
It says fire.
It's never gonna get old, bro.
Oh no, it's
never gonna get old. But I've heard Heiser and a couple people, I think, Heiser for sure, say that like stones of fire would be angels. Like we're talking about shining ones, talking about stars.
Stars, yeah.
You have a cherub walking among the stones of fire. One way people have tried to interpret this is the sons of God. Like they would be the stones of fire.
Well, the seraphim.
You're thinking about stars, right?
Right. That, and then seraphim has the connotation of burning.
Yeah,
to burn.
Well, the word here is cherub.
Cherub. Okay.
Cherub. Yeah. So we need to talk about cherubim and seraphim in a second. Which is going to come up because you wanted to hear the Ezekiel passage. I'm almost there.
Yeah.
The other one that I find
let's look at the word cherub real quick.
Wait, let me get this one in real quick.
Okay.
And this is quick.
wait.
Second Chronicles.
Oh Lord.
2 Chronicles 16 verse 9. This is one I promise you people don't think about this. The Lord is let's see, a seer, a prophet comes to King Asa of Judah. Because you relied on the king of Syria and you did not rely on the Lord your God, the army of the king of Syria has escaped you. were not the Ethiopians and the Libyans a huge army with very many chariots and horsemen, yet because you relied on the Lord, he gave them into your hand. Verse 9, for the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless towards him.
Yeah.
So people, I know, when they read this verse, they're thinking like the eye of Sauron from
God
the
is
Lord of the
looking
Rings.
down. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right? The eyes of the Lord is a title for a malak. The eyes of the Lord are running. It says they're running to and fro throughout the earth, giving strength and support. I mean, God's eyeballs, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's got like a beam that he's shooting at people.
Yeah, it's like, here's your support beam.
But no, the eyes of the Lord, that would be angels, you know, the way we understand them.
Well, we think we have that same thing in English, like our eye, like a spy or an informant.
Yeah, be my eyes.
Works for you. Right? You're my eyes on the ground, you know.
Yeah, or you hear people say, "Be my eyes and ears," you know.
Yeah, exactly.
The other time that comes up is Job 1. When the sons of God present themselves to the Lord and the Satan, the adversary.
Hey, what have you been doing?
He says, the Lord says, "From where have you come?" And Satan.
Now explain that that's not the devil from the Garden of Eden.
In Hebrew, it says Ha Satan, so it's the adversary.
Yeah.
So in this context, is it the devil? I don't think so, but I mean maybe, but I don't think so. But it's a generic adversary is what it means. So what this is he's Job's adversary in the context of the story.
Right.
He's the antagonist of the story. So it's calling him the adversary.
But is he an enemy of God? I don't think he is.
I don't think so.
I think he's doing his job, and then when he comes and presents himself like he's supposed to, then he has this thought, well, have you considered, because this Job guy, he's only liking you because of this and that.
Yeah,
so God gives him the authority. Hey, go ahead and jack him up a little bit. Just don't kill him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think the guy is coming in with the intention of like being an enemy or an adversary. I don't know. Maybe not, but
yeah. So the reason I don't think it's the devil is because it causes a problem for me. This is obviously after Genesis 3, after the fall.
Yeah, the big D devil.
So why is he Satan
into the presence of
in
God?
The council of God making like bargaining,
making
with
observations,
and then the Lord gives him authority to, which I guess you could say, well, God allows demons to torment people so that they can come to repentance and whatever. But I don't think that's what's going on here. Based on what I just read in 2 Chronicles, that the eyes of the Lord are going to and fro. With the answer, he says, from where have you come? And Satan, the adversary,
going to and fro.
He says, from going to and fro on the earth and walking up and down on it.
Right. Yeah.
And then the Lord answers the question, or asks a reasonable question for someone whose job it is to observe. He says, have you observed Job?
Have you been keeping an eye on my buddy? Or
there is none like him. And then he says, does Job fear God for no reason? And so then they get into this thing. But the question that he asked, from where have you come? Have you considered Job? These are like normal questions for like the guy whose job it is to go check on things.
Well, think of like, I talked about the heavenly host, and host being a military term for like armies. Yeah. You think of like a patrolling officer that is patrolling across the earth, keeping watch and, over God's creation, and, and then reporting back to, his senior officer, what's going on and what do you see and what's going down. Yeah. It's the same thing.
So now to the one that you wanted to, we're going to get to talk about here, maybe let's see, we've been going almost an hour and 15 minutes. So maybe in the next 20 minutes or so, if people will hang in there, let's talk real quick about, this is going to get to the biblically accurate angels. Yeah, yeah. And we can throw seraphim and cherubim in here too, because it connects to what these beings are. So you want me to read it real quick and then give thoughts, or okay. Bless you.
Sorry. Yeah, I know, man. Jeez. All right.
Y'all, it's if y'all aren't from the South,
Bro,
you don't
Louisiana
know.
weather is
awful.
The
air here. Whew.
It's like breathing water.
Yeah, and this time of year, the pollen and stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah, so pollen water. It's like breathing pollen water.
That's exactly it.
So Ezekiel 1 is, he says he saw visions of God. On the 5th, let's see, I'm trying to get to the good part here. As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud with brightness around it. Oh man, get me started on this brightness word. Have I explained this enough on the podcast yet?
Wait, so start over. How does he begin?
Okay, so hold on, where did it go? Shoot, the way that this website does the scrolling is so odd. Okay, sorry everyone. So as I looked, a stormy wind came out of the north.
So as I looked,
yeah, a stormy wind came out of the north with a great brightness around it and fire flashing forth continually, lightning. Excuse me, I had to get that in there.
Yep.
Fire flashing forth continually, and in the midst of the lightning, in the midst of the fire, as it were, gleaming metal. Now I opened something here, but hold on, let me find this word because it's talking about the fire and the lightning.
Gleaming metal.
The gleaming metal.
Flashing.
Now this word, is it in here? Ayin. Okay. Ayin. This word where it says
it makes me think of the flashing sword, like the lightsabers that angels have.
Yeah.
The flaming sword. It's a lightsaber. Okay. It can't be anything else.
So this word ayin, it says that it had in the midst of it, and in its midst it had something like glowing metal in the midst of the fire. So in the midst of the fire had something like glowing metal. Part of that phrase there is the word that gets translated eyes later. When it says that the wheels were full of eyes, it's this word. This word is in this chapter several times, and it doesn't get translated. They leave it out.
Yeah.
But the reason it gets translated eyes, and here's what I've heard. I have to find my source for this. Heiser talked about it on his podcast.
It's lights on a UFO, Ryan.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So the reason it's associated with glowing, we even have this in English. You talk about like, I saw the spark in their eyes, or the glow in their eyes, or whatever.
The twinkle in their eyes.
The twinkle in their eyes. And we like, you can tell when a person is sick because their eyes look dull, or their eyes look...
Or he was so happy he was radiating or glowing with joy.
So there's like the way I understand it is there's like a idiomatic kind of, or there's kind of this illusion in a illusory, is that the word? Sense to eyes. But the word eyes, when it says that the beings are full of eyes, it's meant to be stars. Ooh. It's meant to be stars. And so they're not eyeballs. They're stars.
Heretic. What are you talking about?
So that word gets used multiple times and doesn't get translated. And so here it is, gleaming metal, as it were, gleaming metal. That's the same word, eyes.
So bright and shiny.
And in the midst of the fire came the likeness of 4 living creatures. Ooh. And this was their appearance. They had human likeness. So men, right? But each had 4 faces. Ooh. And each of them had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the sole of a calf's foot.
So they weren't bow-legged angels. Their feet were straight.
And they sparkled like burnished bronze. Guess what that word is? Eyes. Let me find it real quick. And they gleamed like burnished bronze. So in there is ayin, again, gleaming. They sparkled like...
You're in Ezekiel 28, right?
Ezekiel 1.
Oh, Ezekiel 1. Okay, sorry.
So under their wings... You want me to keep going with the description?
You can, yeah.
Under the wings.
What verse are you at?
I'm on 1 verse 8 now.
Oh, okay.
So they had...
Okay.
Where do you want to
go? Keep going, and I'll let you know when I find it.
You got the 4 faces: the face of a lion, the face of an ox, the face of an eagle, the human face. Of course, that was the first one. I missed that one. Their wings were spread out above. Each creature had 2 wings, each of which touched the wing of the other, and 2 covered their bodies. and each went straight forward. Wherever the Spirit would go, they would go without turning as they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire. Guess what that word is? Yep, you guessed it. It's ayin is in there.
Okay, look at verse 1.
Verse 1. Oh, that was like an hour ago.
I know, but look at verse 1. No, it's okay. It's gonna connect.
Okay.
Verse 1, he's talking about, the 13th year and all this, it's actually a place and time that actually happened. And then he says, by the Kabar River, the heavens opened and I saw a divine vision.
Yeah.
I don't know if we read that part, did we?
The way mine is, I have ESV. It says the heavens were open and I saw visions of God.
A vision, yeah. So it's a vision. All this stuff he's saying is a vision.
Right.
He's not actually seeing the sky open up and like lightning coming out, and he's not actually seeing it.
Right, as opposed
it's
to
all
the
in
story,
his head.
As opposed to the story with Abraham or Jacob,
where
they actually
saw
interacted.
Them, right. So being. He's not seeing things with his physical eyes.
Yeah.
This is in his mind or his third eye. So sorry, go ahead. Just wanted to put that preface there so people know that what he's explaining is not something that he's physically seeing. It's like, again, you have a dream, you want to tell somebody, you're trying to explain the dream to them.
You know what I'm noticing?
Yeah.
The word that I'm harping on, this ayin word.
Mm-hmm.
When I do the
it makes me think of tajin, the Mexican.
When I do the
spices.
interlinear, it has that word is the word like, that it's when it says gleaming, gleaming like burning metal.
Oh, like. Yeah,
so okay. maybe the connection with eyes, what they're trying to do is that it seems like to your eye burning metal. Mm-hmm. That might be why they're translating it that way.
Maybe so.
But anyway, it's interesting that so when we get down later to verse 16, as for the appearance of the wheels, they were like the gleaming, so that's it again. Mm-hmm. And the four had the same likeness, their appearance, wheel within a wheel. They went in all four directions, and their rims were tall and awesome, and the rims of all four were full of eyes all around. That's the word, ayin. That's the same word. So it got translated eyes there.
Yeah.
So anyway, my point is that all this gleaming like burning metal and glowing, and we're talking about divine beings, that this is stars, and we've said this before on the podcast, but there's a theory about this passage that what Ezekiel is seeing is almost like an anthropomorphized, did I say that right?
Yeah, sure.
Version of the Babylonian zodiac. That this is kind of representing the Lord being over all of space and time, his dominance, and that he's sitting on the zodiac.
Right.
And that
he's sitting above all creation.
Because these four faces all correlate with the four cardinal points of the Babylonian zodiac.
Right.
And
north, south, east, and west.
And they would determine the seasons by the stars, right? So when it says that this is a wheel, right, the zodiac is a circle, that it's a wheel full of stars, that and not eyeballs. That's the argument that I'm making for that. And it makes sense with the angel motif that they're the gleaming ones and the stones of fire and the shining ones, and they're, so it makes sense to me that they would appear starry. I think that so instead of looking like they're full of eyeballs, I picture it like Emma Frost from that Wolverine movie, right? Where she's all glittery.
Yeah.
That's probably what they looked like, something like that.
So when you get to like verse 26, it starts talking about a throne that's right in the center, hovering over this platform. Right. And Heiser has a great video on this you can watch on YouTube where he talks about Ezekiel's vision and how Ezekiel is trying to explain this idea of the throne of God and how God sits above all creation. And, this platform with the wheels and all this stuff. There's actually...
This is his chariot that he's riding, his throne.
There's actually I think it's Egyptian. There's Egyptian thrones that they have found that are very similar sounding to this. Like it sits on this platform and it's got these like rounded feet.
Oh, okay.
at the bottom of it, and there's like feet clenched to these like balls, and then it sits. Yeah, it's like, oh wow, it seems kind of similar to what it's saying here.
Well, that's kind of like the here's a little trivia here, but not what this episode is about. But the Ark of the Covenant, a lot of people compare the design of the Ark of the Covenant to the Egyptian barks.
Yeah.
The boats that they would parade when they
with the seraphim and the cherubim.
Yep. Yeah. So glad you said that. That gets us back on track. If we skip ahead to chapter 10, okay, Ezekiel 10, verse 1. Mm-hmm. He says, "Then I looked, and behold, on the expanse that was over the heads of the cherubim." So now he's calling them cherubim.
Well, what are cherubim?
These are the same beings. And we know they're the same beings because he says, go in among the wheels underneath the cherubim. And he says that earlier in chapter 1, the wheels were full of eyes. Here, the cherubim and the wheels are both full of eyes.
But this also gives clues to that it's a throne room scene.
Right.
Is because of cherubim. Cherubim
so go ahead.
Comes from Babylonian. Well, it comes from a bunch of different cultures, but the cherubim in Hebrew. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Cherubim, yeah.
The cherubim, they're associated with guardianship and the divine presence. There's a connection to Sumerian. They're called the Lamasu or the Lamasu.
Right.
And the Caribou in Akkadian. So this is not, a Jewish thing.
Right. It's an ancient Near Eastern thing.
Right. It's an ancient Near Eastern idea of a throne guardian. The Egyptians had it with the seraphim, the snakes, the cobras with the winged hood, and all that stuff. It's all that same imagery. The seraphim comes from the word seraph, which is burning and snake. And it's like, it's so cool how all this stuff connects so nicely.
And that's one of the things when you hear, like, for instance, I don't know if any of our listeners were raised Catholic and know about like the classes of angels. But they classify cherubim and seraphim as two different types of angels, and maybe they are.
Yeah, maybe.
But the seraphim, like you're describing, the Egyptian serpents, the cobras.
Yeah.
Seraphim are also throne guardians. They have the same job.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's another thing I was saying about like the Egyptian throne. A lot of them have cobras on each side of them, like a protector.
So where else this happens in the Bible?
Where?
Isaiah 6. When Isaiah is having his vision.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So Isaiah 6:1, he says, "In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above him stood the seraphim." And then it goes on. Each had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, and with 2 he covered his feet.
On to the same. But the another cool thing about the cherubim and how it's kind of connected to the Lamasu of the Sumerian and Mesopotamian religion is, I know you've seen it. It's the guy's head with the beard, and then he's got like the body of a bull or a lion. Then he's got so it's this amalgamation of like animal and human mixed together. It's exactly what you see here in the biblical text.
It's a hybrid.
This face with the wings and the things and the feet and the weird, it's this amalgamational creature. That is not literal.
Right.
It's in a vision.
So, well, just devil's advocate, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Could there be different types of angels? Like, if these are the throne guardians.
Yeah.
And these, the ones that Abraham talked to are
varsity
messengers.
And junior varsity angels and
like
who's captain of the football team.
Maybe.
Angel. Well, I mean, Enoch kind of hints at that. So the only 2 angels that are named in the Bible is Michael and Gabriel.
Yeah.
And they are given this title of archangel or like covering angel,
which is like almost, another made up thing.
Almost seems like an authoritative type of title, maybe. But Enoch lists a ton of angels, bro. Raphael and all the Ninja Turtle names, so like Phanuel and all these different names. It's pretty cool.
Well, and the bad guys, and the bad guys,
and the Samyaza,
Samyaza, that's what it was.
It lists
and
a lot.
Azazel, and
I think it lists like 20 of the bad guys and like what they did, like what their
Yeah.
specialty was.
yeah,
Like some was like in like occultic magic, and some was like into roots and potions and like all this crazy stuff. It's really interesting.
yeah. So what I've heard is, again, if anyone's familiar with the different classes of angels, that
Mhm.
again is totally made up based on tradition. It's not in the Bible.
Mhm.
But that Enoch starts out, we've already said this on the podcast, but my favorite line, it starts out by saying everyone knows that how does it say it? Basically that I'm gonna have to look it up now. Everyone knows that, I don't think it says stars, but it says that they never deviate from their
Oh
path.
yeah, never deviate. Yeah, yeah.
And it's
from
like this
their
very ominous
duty.
opening,
Yeah.
because you know what's about to happen. They
Right.
deviate.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so I think that if I remember correctly, that these would have been called what we would have called virtues, like
Mm.
what Catholics would have called virtues, because they kind of administer the natural world, the natural
Mhm.
order.
Mhm.
Enoch says that, and Jubilees mentions this too, the spirits of like hot and cold, the spirits of
Mm.
the mountains and the
Well, it was
valleys and
almost
the
like they were
whatever.
given, and you see that in Enoch a lot. It's
Yeah.
like they almost had a specialty that they were able to teach men about
Yeah.
the earth, and different, I think it was sciences and stuff that we had no clue about the earth, but they did,
Yeah.
because they saw it made.
So the seraphim and cherubim, the way that I think of it is that they're kind of the same thing, because they both
Throne
perform the
guardians,
same
yeah.
role. And those words, the reason there's different words, I mean, they're used in different places in the Bible. It's regional. It's based on the culture and based on the time that those books were written.
Yeah, and then all
One is like Phoenician and one is
right. Well,
something else.
There's
I don't
an
remember.
Akkadian, there's a Sumerian, there's
Yeah.
a Mesopotamian version, and
Yeah.
it's all this. It's all describing the same being.
Yeah. So seraph or seraphim is an interesting one, because remember I was saying earlier that angel doesn't mean anything. Like, we don't know what it means.
Right.
And sometimes malak gets translated messenger, sometimes
Right,
it gets
right.
translated angel. Seraphim and cherubim are kind of the same way,
Yeah.
because like seraphim shows up in Isaiah multiple times. In Isaiah 6, they don't even try to give it like an English word. They don't try to name them. They just say, these are seraphim. They have 6 wings. He grabbed the coal and touched Isaiah's lips, and they're seraphim. But
Right.
later in Isaiah 14, I'm looking 14:29, he says, "Don't be so happy, all you Philistines, just because the club that beat you has been broken. For a viper," he says, "for a viper
Seraph.
will grow out of the serpent's root, and its fruit will be a darting adder." Now, this just says viper. Let's see, Isaiah 30 does it too. Isaiah 30 says,
There's a lot of snake imagery in the Bible, bro.
yeah,
And it has to do with divine beings and stuff.
Isaiah 30 says,
Go figure, Genesis 3.
yeah, "In a land of distress and danger, inhabited by lionesses, roaring lions, by snakes and darting adders."
Right. And I think we talked
So-
we didn't mention it this episode. We mentioned it before that, supposedly Moses wrote Genesis, and if he would have been instructed in Egyptian mythology, because he was raised Egyptian.
Right.
He was a Hebrew, but he was raised in Pharaoh's house. He would have been instructed in their religion. He would have, maybe, when he came to writing Genesis, added some of that mythology into Genesis 3 with the serpent
Right,
being
because
the bad guy,
Yeah, he would have been using
He
things.
was a divine being. It was a seraph, in a certain way. But we know that he wasn't a snake.
Well, in Genesis 3, he's a Nakash, right?
Right.
Which is a different. So Seraph actually shows up in.
Yeah. You're right.
Is it
right.
Exodus when he talks about the snakes that are biting?
The snake on the pole,
And it calls them fiery serpents, right?
Fiery serpents,
they're vipers.
They're venomous.
Yeah. So it gets translated viper in English, and it just means snakes there. And that's what this. That's what the NET chose to do in Isaiah 14. It just says vipers and adders. So I think that vipers and adders here is probably Seraph and Nakash. But there's some translations that, man, if I could find it.
But Moses would have been like...
Okay, the ESV says, from the serpent's root will come forth an adder, and its fruit will be a flying, fiery serpent.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So, like, in Isaiah 6, in his vision, there's seraphim surrounding the throne of God. But here, they're fiery flying serpents that are attacking Philistines.
Right.
So, like, again,
that's so
just
awesome.
This is work. This is my point earlier. This is work that translators are doing.
Right.
And you're just reading it in English, and you don't realize this is the same word. You know, so like, why are they dragons here?
Right, yeah, exactly.
They're dragons here, but they're just like, oh, little angels, like
cherubim.
So, yeah. Which, by the way, that the Cupid imagery, right? That came from the Renaissance era. The Bible never describes them as chubby babies.
Yeah, that was all Greek and Roman.
That's from the Cupid, the Greek mythology.
Yeah, Cupid, and who was the other one? Dang. There was another one in Roman and Greek. Shoot, what was the guy's name? There was a video game of him. Crap, dude.
I don't know.
I can't think of it. Was it Icarus?
Oh, yeah. Are you thinking of Kid Icarus?
I think so.
That's
I don't know if that's correct.
The one with the what's his name? Pitt, the little angel guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at some other translations here. ASV, his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. The Young's literal translation just says his fruit is a flying seraph. Like, they didn't even try. They just
it's a flying, whatever.
We don't know what that word is, so just put seraph. So so I'm just saying, like, we preload a lot into these. But the imagery, the fiery imagery, makes sense with what we've been talking about, the stones of fire, the shining ones,
shining, the bright,
gleaming.
Well, then it goes back to Genesis
metallic.
3 also with an Akash, with however you want to see that word as a, I don't remember which one it was.
That he would have been the shining one,
right?
Or the which I think the international. Which translation did that?
Yeah, I remember you said one of them actually says the shining one.
One of them does say the shining
which
one.
Which is cool.
So.
And I don't think I said before, but the whole albinism thing, sorry, my brain is like trying to, if that's the first time you ever heard that, it's from the book of Enoch. Well, it's actually from the book of Noah, where that little inscription is talking about.
Which somebody stapled to the back of the book.
The
book of the giants.
Enoch, that when Noah was born, his dad flipped out because he was light skinned. He had white skin and white hair and bright eyes.
Was it red hair? White skin and red hair. Right?
Well, it says that his skin was white and red, like the blooming of a rose or something.
Oh, okay.
So he might have had like red blotches.
I just remember there being like very vibrant colors.
Right. So Lamech is his father, but the fact that his father says he looks like one of the Watchers.
Yeah.
Which is the angels that came down. So if that story is true, which I think it is, and that's what the Bible writers often reference, was the book of the giants or whatever.
Yeah. Watchers is another label for angels. Again, right, eyes of the Lord, or this idea that
Watchers,
like
they go
Enoch,
and they look and they observe.
Yeah, in Enoch, this idea that these were like they were supposed to maintain.
Oh, what was the thing where it says that angels
creation.
Like are infatuated with the things of humans? They long to look into like the affairs of humans or something.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but
oh, really?
That's what it.
That's a. Let me find it.
Well, Daniel, that term does show up one place in the Bible. It's in Daniel 4. The sentence. This is when.
First Peter 1:12, angels long to look into, referring to the angels' intense curiosity and desire to understand the mystery of salvation.
Yeah.
With humanity.
Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna have to look into that more. I didn't notice that.
They long to look into. They watch and they look and observe.
But you know in Daniel when Nebuchadnezzar's cursed and it says that a beast mind is given to him.
He got lycanthropy.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Thought he was a wolf, bro.
Well, so Daniel 4:17, the sentence is by the decree of the Watchers, is what it says.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the decision
council.
by the word of the holy ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't God that came up with that.
Yeah.
God was like, what was the other one that Heiser always talked about where they were like going to judge this guy and he pretty much gives it to like an open forum. What do y'all think we should do to this guy? And the angel was like,
"Oh,
I'll be a lying spirit to
yes,
his prophets.
that's
like,
Ahab.
yeah, that's good. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
King Ahab when he goes to war.
Yeah, so he opens it up to his council and he's like, what should we do? The guy's like, let's do this. He's like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. You will be successful.
Right, exactly.
So, so he obviously incorporates and employs,
just like us.
Just like us.
Sons of God, sons of earth, sons of heaven.
Oh, I didn't notice this. Daniel 4:13 has it too. I saw, this is a few verses ahead. I saw in the visions of my head as I lay in my bed.
Vision, yeah.
And behold,
so he's
a
dreaming,
watcher,
probably.
a holy one came. That sounds like a Edgar Allan Poe line, the way that's written.
Yeah, read again.
I saw in the visions of my head as I lay in my bed, and behold, a watcher.
Lay in my bed.
Behold, a watcher, a holy one came down from heaven. So, yeah.
Does it describe what he looks like?
No.
No.
But he's a watcher. Yeah.
He had 7 heads and full of eyes.
Yeah. What else we got in here? I mean, I think we covered all the.
That's a pretty good bit, huh?
I mean, I know that this episode has been more like a book report.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to apologize for that, but again, like sometimes we have to do this to set up for future episodes.
Right.
So if you've made it to the end, thank you. There's a lot more we could say. I don't know, Josh, is there any other points you really wanted to make in this episode?
No, the main thing, I mean, the whole like kickoff was like biblically accurate angels are not biblically accurate. And I've, we've made those memes and like little videos on our social media, just kind of poking fun at it. But like, there's like, it's really, you have to understand what you're reading. And when the dude says he's in a vision, he's not actually seeing physical things. He's seeing things in his mind. So when people take that and they're like, this is what angels really look like. If you were to actually see an angel, that's why people freak out, because they have faces and eyes and their wings and their, spiraling in wheels. And no, they're not.
Yeah.
People see angels all the time in the Bible. People probably see angels all the time now and not even realize it. At least that's what New Testament says.
Yeah, what the wheels with the eyes is called in the Catholic?
You ever seen an albino?
I've never met an albino.
Really? I've seen them. I've never met them. But
I've seen pictures of them.
I've seen albinos. They could be angels, bro. You never know.
The wheels with the eyes in Ezekiel, you know what they're called in the classification system?
Oh God, what?
Ophanim. Ophanim.
Yeah.
They're, or thrones. Thrones would be the other word, but they're ophanim. So
if that's where spinner rims came from.
Yeah.
The wheels rotating.
The iced spinner rims.
So all the hip hop dudes that have like spinner rims on their cars, it's biblical.
Yeah. Well, and it's not biblical.
Biblically accurate rims.
It's not biblically accurate angels for 2 reasons. Like like you said, the little meme, the little cartoons are funny where it's like, don't be afraid. It's like, because it's the huge.
Right.
But so
monstrous
that's not how angels appeared to people, like when they interacted with people.
Why? This is a pushback though. Why do they say don't be afraid? They're saying don't be afraid because they're crazy monster looking creatures and people are freaking out.
Well, yeah, but I think they can look like men and be. I mean, like bouncers are scary.
Yes.
like there are dudes that I would be scared of if they showed up in my house. And like,
if you have you ever seen like a basketball player like in person?
Yeah.
I got to see Michael Jordan one time play baseball, and he was kind of far away, but he would come up, like we were right close to like where the field was, and he would kind of walk by, like going to the dugout and stuff. He's 6'6", I think. 6'6", 6'7". Intimidating. You talk about just the size of this guy is just like, whoa. I can't imagine seeing like Shaq or something.
Yeah, I was just thinking Shaq,
like a foot taller.
I mean, if you were in your room praying,
about
Shaquille O'Neal popped up.
Yeah, and there is precedent that they are large. They could be giant.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Their offspring was giant. Why would the offspring be giant and their fathers weren't? It seems like they were probably giant as well. And I mean, I have a crazy speculation. I think humans were giants when they were created, and we've devolved and gotten shorter and shorter. But anyway,
but yeah, they're not biblically accurate because
no, they're not.
And it's, I mean, people are gonna be like, yes, they are. That's what that means. It's like, yeah, it is.
Says
we understand.
Wings.
We understand it's biblically accurate.
It says they have wings.
We understand.
It's in the Bible.
Yeah. And you know what? I've never been to heaven, so I don't know if when we get there, it's gonna be like, oh, look, there's one right there.
Well, I'm gonna be like, well, that was really confusing the way you wrote all that stuff down because you said it was a vision, and then they're men.
Well, when they're having visions, are they seeing something that actually exists, or is it all figment?
I don't think so. I think it's all heavenly messaging.
Or are they seeing anything at all, and they're just creating it when they write it down?
They're not seeing anything, really.
Well, it's a vision.
With their eyes. They're not seeing it with their eyes, yeah. They're seeing it in their mind.
Yeah. That's one of the craziest things.
And I love what Alberino says about those visions and dreams. He said it's like a zip folder. You get the vision, you get the information, but you have to interpret it. Visions and dreams are always interpreted in Scripture. And so it's like you can get the zip folder onto your computer and you can say, I have the files. Well, you don't. You have to unzip the folder and then extract the information. You extract the files. It has to be interpreted. Yeah. I love that. It makes it so practical. It's like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. So that's not how angels appear to people when they appear in the real world, right. IRL. And they're not biblically accurate for the other reason that they're not full of eyeballs. I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill. They're not full of eyeballs. Right. Revelation does use that image, and he uses the word eyes, the Greek word for eyes. But I mean, you could just say, well, he's just carrying on the tradition. It just, when it got translated or written down,
right? Yeah, he's just,
this is the word that we use to describe this, and they would have had the same connection to stars and all that stuff. Sure, they would have had the same beliefs. So,
well, they were so cosmic in the way they thought.
Yeah,
like the more I read the Bible and the more I look into this stuff, like their mentality was so cosmic. Everything was in the stars. Everything was in astronomy. Like that's how they predicted everything. That's how we got seasons and times. And the Bible says that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
And they were able to predict so many things. And, then you get into the wise men finding Jesus, they found him through cosmic constellations and stuff, following a star. And dude, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Dude, if you're reading the Bible and you're bored, you're doing it wrong. Okay. You're doing it wrong. Because it is freaking fantastic.
And if y'all are listening and you're like, I like this idea of doing this exercise, being more aware of when I'm reading something in English, what translations are happening and what words might actually be, listen to the Divine Counsel Worldview podcast. We've had Mike Chu and Dr. Johnson on our show.
Yep.
They do this on almost every episode.
Yeah.
When they went through the book of Genesis, they pointed out how often the word Elohim or some form of that word for God is used, and it doesn't specify which God. That, I find that really interesting because you're always going to see capital G, capital G, capital G.
Right.
But there's lots of times, like in the Jacob story we were reading a little while ago, when the man, he's a man.
Yeah.
But when the man, that could have been Jesus, says, you've wrestled with men and with God and you've prevailed, it always does the singular capital G, God. You've wrestled with God. But that's again, somebody doing the translation work for you.
Could be a God.
It's more accurate. Yeah, it's more accurate that they're both plural, that it's men and gods.
Yeah.
You've wrestled with men and with gods. And that's, in my head, I think that's when Jacob said, hold on, I wrestled with a what? So again.
And for people that are thrown off by that, us saying God's plural, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but just in case, angels and divine beings are considered gods. In the
that
purest sense of
language.
the ancient Hebrew, Elohim is a god. You can say little g god if that helps you.
Yeah, but
they
they're
are
divine. That's why
gods.
we like saying something like divine beings,
Divine beings.
you know. But yeah, it doesn't always specify what Elohim it's talking about when that word comes up. So
right.
So yeah, Dr. Heiser and then Dr. Johnson and Mike Chu, they are kind of the reason when I read the Bible now, I do it as an exercise. I go, I'm not going to let the English translators do all the work for me. Like I would like to know what's going on here in the context, you know? So I think that that's all I have to say.
Yeah. And then like the translators, they're not perfect. Like God used them and they worked with what they had in their own minds and their own understanding. And that's why we have so many different translations in English, because there's so many differing ideas of what this word is and what that word could be. And, so it's good to read a lot of different translations to get a better understanding of what you're reading.
No, actually just read King James.
King James 1611. Is it 1611? That's the verified word of God.
That's it. That's what Moses wrote in, and that's what Jesus spoke in, and
Lord have mercy.
All right.
If you're interested in angels, check out Dr. Heiser has a book on angels.
Yep.
It's great. There's actually a little documentary on YouTube that you can watch about angels. I would highly, highly recommend Timothy Alberino's thoughts on angels. You can find his videos on YouTube as well, but and his book Birthright, where he talks about angels and some of the stuff that we were talking about being a little more physical than you think. Really, really, really great eye-opening stuff.
Yeah.
But Ryan, I appreciate you pulling up scriptures and dialoguing with me tonight.
I appreciate you letting me ramble.
It was
get
great.
On my soapbox.
It's fun. We need to get our wiggles out, every once in a while. We have all these guests on, and we're like, well, what about, we need to.
I know we've had so many guests on now. I'm like, are people going to be interested in an episode that's just us?
They're like, it's just Josh and Ryan. Next.
And like I said, this one might
blurry
seem
creatures.
This one might seem kind of dry to people because we're just like, and this word means this, and it's in
the
this
Bible
verse.
says this. But it could mean that.
Yeah. But we've got some other plans. We're going to have Dr. Johnson back on. He's already given us topics that he wants to talk about, or that we've agreed on. And Josh has got other guests lined up, so it won't be just us.
Yeah, I'm trying to line up some more guests.
We want to do the things Christians say, so maybe send in things that you guys have heard. We need to make an Instagram post.
Footprints in the sand. I think is that one. No, that's not a scripture.
Eye of the needle. The camel through the eye of the needle.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Yeah. God will not give you anything that you can't handle, or something like that.
I have a plan. I have a plan to prosper you and not to harm you.
Yeah. We should talk about Jeremiah.
The body, your body is a temple.
29:11.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
29:11. Yeah. I've already done this one, but in the atonement episode, we talked about it is finished. Tetelestai, I think is the Greek word, and every Easter somebody says it, that it means paid in full.
The work of
it does not mean paid in full.
He paid the penalty.
I hate to burst your bubble.
And it is done. How dare you, Ryan?
Yeah.
How dare you speak such blasphemy? It says fire.
If y'all don't see me in heaven, you'll know. You'll know why.
You're like, it was finished, Ryan. You screwed it up.
Oh, shoot, man. I take it back.
You're like, I swear it's finished. Oh, God.
You know who's finished? You are.
You're finished.
Finish
him. God's like, finish him. He's like,
fatality.
Rips your spine out.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, that was brutal. And then go listen to our lightning episode, because that's one of our favorites.
Yeah. All right.
That's another rant one. But thank you, Ryan.
So we'll do that. All right.
Peace be to all you listeners. Bye-bye.